ready to get the ball rolling, if you pardon the pun. Now, on behalf of the Pushkin Literary Society Organizing Committee, I would like to welcome you all here tonight to share with us the celebration of Pushkin's birthday and also the birth of our literary society. On this occasion, we would like to share with you some of the cultural heritage that we have inherited from our great poet, Alexander Pushkin. I would like to now introduce the Minister for Multicultural Affairs, the Honourable Michael Atkinson, to say a few words.
First to acknowledge your President, Mr. Dick Durkach, Emeritus Professor Eric Mills, your Secretary, Natalia Mills, the Theatre Manager, members of the Pushkin Literary Society, performers, recitalists, presenters, ladies and gentlemen. Dobry večer. I have the honour to represent the Premier, the Honourable Mike Rann, who's asked me to bring you his greetings and best wishes for the Pushkin Literary Society's concert. A society dedicated to the appreciation and study of such a master as Alexander Pushkin is especially welcome. Alexander Sergeyevich Pushkin is Russia's greatest poet and the founder of modern Russian literature. The times had a profound effect on him and on his thinking, especially on subjects such as political freedom and emancipation of the serfs. As a member of the Green Lamp Society, which sympathised with the Decembrist revolutionaries of 1825, he came under police scrutiny and was internally exiled. But this did not deter him from writing more and more masterpieces. He was brought up in the embrace of French culture and the French language, as was the habit of the Russian nobility at that time. Yet he was also steeped in the Russian literary and folk tradition, having read widely and heard stories about his ancestors in Russian from his maternal grandmother and Russian folk tales from his nurse, Arina Radionovna Yakovleva. He lovingly immortalised his nurse as Tatiana's nurse in his epic work, Yevgeny Onegin. During the summers he spent at his grandmother's estate, he devoured his father's library and had his precocious imagination stimulated by the literary guests who came to the house and by the many hours he spent talking to peasants. Pushkin's poetry often flouted accepted contemporary rules and genres, and it brought the wrath of critics and older poets upon him. But it also brought him great fame and recognition. After publication of Ruslan and Ludmila, the older poet V.A. Zhukovsky presented his portrait of Pushkin with the inscription, "To the victorious pupil from the defeated master." Great praise indeed. Pushkin was acclaimed as the leader of the romantic, liberty-loving generation of the 1820s, yet he himself was never fully satisfied with some of his work. He pushed himself to greater and higher levels of literary achievement. He presented typical figures of his own age, but in a wider setting and with new artistic methods and techniques. Yevgeny Onegin, for example, as a novel in verse. He showed his characters in relationship to the social and environmental forces that shaped him, and he rejected Lord Byron's subjective, romanticised treatment in favour of objective descriptions that put his heroes and his heroines not in exotic surroundings, but firmly at the heart of the Russian way of life. Pushkin used the Russian language with astonishing simplicity, and he influenced succeeding generations of writers, especially Ivan Turgenev, Ivan Goncharov, and the great Leo Tolstoy, to do the same. Pushkin gave Russia a powerful, authoritative, and respected literary voice and established a commanding tradition. The Pushkin Literary Society is doing a great favour to the South Australian public by bringing the treasury of Alexander Pushkin's creativity and genius to us to learn, enjoy and celebrate. The concert tonight also shows Pushkin's influence on arts beside his own. I wish you every success for the future, and I'm delighted that the South Australian Government can contribute to the success of the Society through a grant from my Multicultural Grants Scheme. Uspekov. For Pushkin and the Pushkin Literary Society,